Hello and welcome to this presentation on the One Nucleus offer. I'm Alicia Gailliez, Business Development Manager at One Nucleus, and I'm very pleased to be presenting on the various ways that One Nucleus supports its members. So who are we? One Nucleus is a not-for-profit life science and healthcare membership group funded on member subscription. We have around 400 corporate members in total. The history of the company dates back to 1997 when there were two separate entities, IRBI and the London Biotechnology Network, which our current CEO, Tony Jones, headed up. In 2010, they were merged to form One Nucleus. We're a small team of 10 people, and it's a pleasure to be part of the team and working to support our members. Our overall goal is to support members in maximising their global competitiveness. Geographically, our members are predominantly based in the Greater London, Cambridge, East of England corridor. Not exclusively though, and we do have a small proportion of members based elsewhere in the UK as well as internationally. The reason for our members being based in this area is historically our events have always taken place in this region, and we've always felt that this is where our focus has been. The chart on the right shows the breadth and range of our membership. So from primary R&D, which includes the likes of big pharma, such as Astrazeneca and Lilly, and also spin-outs and startups, and then feeding into this, drug discovery and development organisations, such as CROs and CDMOs, including the likes of Catalent, Lonza and Illumina. And then the business operations and support, which will include professional services from consultants, legal and regulatory, and then strategic support, which will include other membership groups like ourselves and government bodies. The main point is that we need all of these components to enable innovation and for our members to be globally competitive. This slide highlights our sole corporate patron, Astrazeneca. Astrazeneca have corporate sponsor benefits as well as unique benefits for the corporate patron. Our corporate sponsors are highlighted below that. One Nucleus also has a partner program which provides enhanced membership benefits over silver and gold, which includes much more profile and also positioning of the partner as a key player in the sector for their expertise. You can see that our partners include farmers, VCs, science parks and legal firms, so a very broad spread there covering the industry landscape. Moving on to why you might become a member. It could be a number of benefits, from profiling opportunities to networking and making new contacts, learning opportunities and saving money. The diagram on the right is highlighting how you can maximise your return on membership. So I'll go into each of these aspects in later slides. Starting with profiling. So a lot about what we do is profiling our members. So they might be looking for research partners, investors, new customers, or they might just be trying to build general awareness of their brand. Listed on the left are all the sort of mechanisms that we use to enable profiling of our members. So starting at the top, members can upload their own news, jobs and events to the One Nucleus website. We also have a publication called the Annual Review, as well as listing members. This has space for editorials penned by thought leaders in our community and network, as well as sponsored adverts. We also have an online directory which lists our members alphabetically. And I also wanted to highlight our monthly newsletters as well. So we schedule monthly newsletters which go out to members and non-members, so the wider network. And I will showcase some example of these in upcoming slides. We're very active on social media and we encourage our members to tag us so that we can like and share their posts. We also have a blog function whereby members can create informative and engaging blogs on their services, which we then upload to the One Nucleus website as well as do social promotion around. And of course, not forgetting the One Nucleus events, which we have a very broad range, and I'll cover these in a separate slide. We're also able to leverage discounts based on the combined spend of our members, and this will include discounts on third-party international conferences. This slide shows some examples of what I mentioned in the previous slide. So the top left is an example of a member news item. So members actually are given admin privileges to the One Nucleus website, and this enables them to directly upload their own news, jobs and events. It does go through a process of approval at our end, but the idea is it's a fairly quick and seamless process and enables members to upload information directly in the format they want it to be in. The bottom left is an example of the online directory. So members can submit a profile about their company, and this could also include links that go to their own homepage as well as contact details. And then on the right, there's a nice visual of a blog posting. So unlike the news, members cannot upload their own blog postings. We work with members to decide on the format of the blog and the topic, and then we also schedule in social promotion around them, so highlighting on our Twitter and LinkedIn channels. This slide provides some numbers illustrating exposure. So an interesting fact is that in the first half of 2021, we actually had 750 member postings for news, jobs and events. So it was very busy indeed. And as I've highlighted, we encourage members to tag us on LinkedIn and Twitter channels, and you can see the social handle there. We also encourage people to join the LinkedIn group, and this actually forms part of our post-event follow-up. So delegates of our webinars receive a follow-up email encouraging them to join the LinkedIn group to continue making connections with those that also attended the webinar. It's also a great way to see the activity of One Nucleus as well as other members in the community. And then I've highlighted the size of the distribution of our newsletters. So you can see I've put a figure of around 9,000 recipients there. So in terms of newsletters, we have our e-news, people pathways, and dates for your diary. And then not forgetting, of course, since we've gone digital, I guess you can say one of the benefits is creating an archive of on-demand content. And actually, a lot of these digital events are done in collaboration with members. And so this is a form of additional profiling and exposure. On the One Nucleus website, the on-demand content is nicely categorized depending on the topic of the webinar. So for instance, industry awareness, R&D insights, skills and development, or business and finance topics. Moving on to events, and we do run a very wide variety. And again, it's one of the really key elements of our offering. So I've listed our conferences at the top as our main partnering opportunities, and I'll cover these in more detail on the next slide. Of course, I should also highlight our Bio Wednesdays, which have been running since 2000. They're one of our flagship monthly events covering broad topics and debates relevant to our sector. They're member benefit events, so members can attend for free. And since going virtual, we've seen a benefit in terms of the geography of delegates attending and also speaker-wise, bringing speakers on board. So the plan is to keep these online going forward. But I guess it's no secret that networking has been difficult since the start of the pandemic. And One Nucleus has also been running a type of event called My Question Is, so an online networking event. And the idea of this event is to go beyond a general introduction and to enable attendees to make meaningful connections. We found this works best when we give a topic or question for discussion. Delegates are broken up into smaller groups with a facilitator to discuss the topic whilst making their introductions. So for some, the experts in the group, this is an opportunity to showcase their knowledge, and for others who are maybe perhaps less familiar, it's actually a really good learning opportunity. So far, they've been running really well and are open to members and non-members. We also hold a range of innovation seminars, and these are typically more in-depth and technical topics. They're usually held in collaboration with our partners and members and could touch upon more R&D based topics. At the same time, they could also touch upon business practicalities. Moving forward, these sorts of events could happen either as webinars or face-to-face. One Nucleus has also recently been holding more operational based webinars. So for example, themes around returning to travel in a post-pandemic world, ensuring supplies in a post-Brexit world, and funding opportunities. These operational sessions also leverage the expertise of our partners and members, and they also tend to be member benefit, so free for members to attend. And then also part of the innovation seminars are the virtual innovation centre workshops. And I'm going to circle back to the VIC in a later slide. We also run a series of thematic groups. So that could be based around HR, skills or marketing. And these tend to be member benefit events as well. And within this group, we have a series of events called Employer of Choice webinars. So these are really reflecting the focus that One Nucleus has on the people side of business. Finally, I've listed partnering days where One Nucleus may work with a farmer or collaborator to engage with our network of early stage R&D companies, and collaborative events whereby One Nucleus will work with other membership groups from related technology fields or different geographies in order to help our members build those all-important new relationships. Moving on to conferences, I will try to summarise this slide as best as I can. So one of the main points is that we've certainly learned a lot from going digital. So on Helix, this year and last year was digital, and Genesis was digital last year, but there is some hope. So starting from the left of the slide, Genesis 2021, I'm delighted to say the plan is to move forward with a face-to-face event this December. It's also going to be a new format whereby in the days around the face-to-face event, there will be a non-overlapping digital component. Here, delegates will be able to access recordings of the live session and one-to-one partnering. The member benefit is that there was going to be a free digital pass for One Nucleus member companies. Genesis is our biggest event and has been going as long as the Bio Wednesdays. And this year we celebrate its 21st birthday. It covers broad sector updates across the life sciences and healthcare sector and assembles senior executives and decision makers from across the life science, healthcare and technology field to present on their collective insights. The Building Life Science Adventures Careers Conference is something we ran for the first time this year in an online format. We're actually planning to keep it as online for 2022, and you can see the date advertised there. The idea for this event is to align employers and employees to have broad discussions about what's working and what's not working in terms of filling skills gaps, talent shortages, and discussions around apprenticeships and internships, for example. It was a really successful conference this year, and it also enabled the sponsors to showcase themselves as companies that put emphasis on supporting the people side of business and as being an employer of choice. Moving on Helix, the plan moving forward next year is to have a face-to-face event. And On Helix is our flagship annual translational research conference, which takes place in Cambridge and which discusses the latest trends in technology and innovation, pushing forward healthcare advances and delivery of treatments to patients. And the member benefit is that One Nucleus members will receive discounted attendance. This slide highlights how we also work with members on joint events whereby they showcase their own expertise on specific subjects. You can see some examples here, including a forum with Merck and a webinar with PharmaLex. So in this instance, One Nucleus supported with logistics and promotion, helping to target the One Nucleus member network. These are also a good example of the innovation seminars I highlighted in an earlier slide, so more technical and in depth. We highlight these on our website, on our main event listings, and also in our monthly mailings that go out to the wider distribution list. And just to highlight again that even if members hold their own events that are not joint with One Nucleus, they can still upload these to the One Nucleus website. Moving on, I want to talk a bit about our training course portfolio. So our training course portfolio is delivered by contracted professional trainers. We have a broad range of topics. So starting with technical courses listed at the top there, moving on to a range of introductory courses, which are perhaps more suitable for those new to the sector, and then also people skill courses. To highlight, the courses are currently being delivered successfully both online and face-to-face. The member benefit is silver members receive discounts and gold members receive enhanced discounts. Just to highlight also how flexible our portfolio is, and there's an option for in-house delivery as well. This represents a really efficient way for a company to effectively train a group of their employees together and potentially to have a more bespoke discussion around the purpose and demands of the training. You'll see here I've highlighted some examples of courses that we have coming up this autumn. So for example, we have an online introduction to drug development course. So that's looking at the later stages of drug development and bringing a drug to commercialization. And it's one of those courses which is suitable for non-scientific professionals working within a life science organization. We also have an example of a compliance course coming up. So the online biological safety course, which is appropriate for those new to the role of biological safety officer, and then the online laboratory health and safety course. Moving on, I wanted to highlight how One Nucleus has broadened the people support element of our offer. So I've already highlighted the thematic groups on HR, skills and marketing that we offer. And as well as this, we enable members to upload their own job vacancies to the One Nucleus website. And some of these can also be featured in our People Pathways newsletter. Moving beyond the recruitment aspect, and we have also been building on the success of our most recent Building Life Science Adventures Careers Conference and continuing discussions in that area, utilising the employer of choice sessions to do this. So these sessions focus on the aspect of people support and the role of this in successfully enabling companies to grow and scale. We're also very lucky to have a member of our team who champions topics around equality, diversity and inclusion. And again, these themes are becoming increasingly key discussions in our sector. So we have a really interesting blog on our website on creating space for everyone, diversity and inclusion. And I would encourage all those listening in to check it out. And finally, just to highlight again, the on-demand content we feel is a really key aspect supporting the people side of business, as it is offering an educational opportunity. So whether you're starting out in your career or senior, just keeping in touch with the thought, knowledge in the sector and what's going on is really key. This is a fairly detailed slide, but the key point is that we have a wide range of products and services which members can make savings on. And many members will make back their membership fee or even multiples of that. So whether it's savings on R&D consumables from our marketplace or our preferred supplier discounts, and I'll cover these in upcoming slides. It could also be savings on external third-party conferences too. I've already explained that we have partnerships that we leverage to enable discounts to these third-party conferences like BioEurope, Spring and Autumn, for example. Members also get discounts on One Nucleus events and training courses. This slide highlights where members can offer discounts to other members on the One Nucleus marketplace. So this is actually featured as a separate page on our website. We currently have around 20 members in the marketplace in total. And you can see the different types of support categories that these fall into, including facilities management and support, business support, training providers, and R&D support. And as this is featured separately on our website, it is also additional exposure for these members. Moving on to the PSA, or the Preferred Supplier Agreements. So this year, I'm delighted to say that we've actually expanded the range of preferred suppliers that we work with. And earlier in the presentation, I've highlighted that One Nucleus leverages the combined spend of our members to get discounts on what we feel are key and essential services for our members. So recently, we've gone from 7 to 10 PSAs. So as well as having discounts on R&D, laboratory consumables, office supplies and couriers, we now have COVID-19 testing, science literature and energy in there as well. And I've tried to incorporate all the logos here for you to see. A good fact here is that in the first quarter of this year, we saved our members around £1 million against the price of those products, the list price of those products. And PSAs undergo a rigorous tender process, and they're not selected by One Nucleus, but they are selected by the members of the purchasing scheme. So gold members have access to the full range of these deals, and silver members have access to some of them. Our Chief Technical Specialist, Richard Dickinson, is hired out as a consultant to assist companies with designing lab and office fit-outs. So as well as the design aspect, Richard can also help these companies with finding space. And the key point here is that members are eligible for discounts on this service. So Richard has over 25 years experience as a facilities manager and has worked for more than 35 years in the life science sector. As well as advising on office and laboratory fit-outs, he can help with laboratory service contracts, maintenance contracts, cleaning contracts, utility bills, insurance, purchasing and budgeting. And there's some really excellent case study examples available on the One Nucleus website for the work that Richard has done. The idea of the Virtual Innovation Centre is that we are leveraging our ecosystem to bring support to companies that are post-startups or just past the startup phase. In the bottom left-hand corner, I've listed the types of support that we are providing to these companies. And we're doing this by utilising our partners and sponsors that bring expertise in these areas. So whether that's helping our cohort on the programme to attract investment, or do good due diligence, or to be international. The programme started back in April 2021, and the plan is to run 2 cohorts this year, 6 months apart. The format of delivery are workshops, and these are actually open to all as events. But what's really key is that those companies enrolled on the programme are going to have access to one-on-one bespoke sessions, so they can really leverage the expertise of the partners involved. You'll see I've highlighted some of the partners in the bottom right. So whether that be George James on leadership aspects, Thermo Fisher in terms of setting up a laboratory, Fish & Richardson for due diligence, or Catalan and Lonzo Moore for product development. Here I'm highlighting the team, as it's always good to put a face to a name. And that brings me to the end of the presentation, with links to the One Nucleus website and also a contact email address. Thank you very much for listening.